Yo, yo, yo. RTF Assassin here, guys, and we're back with our new video series, Lore Roundtable Discussion. Something that we're doing live on stream, and I'm producing the video a little bit later, but something that I really wanted to get into talking about Destiny 2 lore in its current state. Something that maybe we can do um, like older lore, but right now we're just doing current lore, current season. Hope you guys really enjoy it. It's a little bit longer of a video than I've normally done, but hopefully y'all enjoy it. Like, share, leave comment. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace. This will be our first session. Hopefully it's something that we can do at least, once a week or bi-weekly, whatever we can get put together. Pretty pumped for it. Something that I feel like we all really enjoy to talk about. I know there are, I think everybody here pretty much does. So for those that are not familiar with the stream, there's a few of us. You got Frozen Peak, who is in the clan with us. You got Mustplaygames, who's also in the stream with, or in the clan, and then Pidgen as well. The voices may sound familiar because we do raid with them a lot. So again, just something that we're going to try to do at least once a week and go from there. So don't know really where to start with it, so we'll just kind of go this week. We'll start with this week. I feel like that's probably the best place to start it.
Week to start on.
A really good week.
The biggest lore dump.
Yeah. So definitely the best lore I think we've had all season, probably for a couple seasons. I feel like the big drop with Misrax is reveal there. I kind of, I'm story wise, I should say, like there's a lot of good lore throughout, but definitely I feel like this season was a pretty big drop with that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
With the pretty similar to the Saint 14 kind of vibe to it. I really felt that like it was almost reversed from how we look at Saint to how the Fallen look at Saint, and then it's kind of like how other Fallen view Misrax, which is pretty cool. So what's your guys' thoughts on how the season's going and where it's going to go?
Look, I think this was an absolute loregasm this week, right? Like this was incredible stuff that happened. I didn't even know how incredible it was until I started researching a little bit, and all these dots it connected. Like a whole lot of stuff to go over.
Yeah.
And like just so we started this fun pirate season, and now all of a sudden we're connecting some things that kind of have been out there for years. And this week started to connect some of those things, and it's crazy.
The big thing was the Nezarec reveal, and the relics being like pieces of Nezarec. Which, in case you didn't know, the relics are pieces of Nezarec's flesh and hair and actual biological organs. So, what this gives us is insight on A, who the disciple of the Moon Pyramid was, and B, a bit more info on how powerful Nezarec was as a disciple. It even left me with some theories about the Moon Pyramid and just the nightmares in general.
It has to be pretty powerful too, because he's already starting to whisper at the helm. I think you can now hear that while you're standing near the relics.
But the big thing that I'm realizing is the Moon Pyramid being related solely to the nightmares may not be entirely coincidence. It may be related to Nezarec and his powers in general.
So what do we?
He's kind of a mystery, right? Like,
Right. That's what I was going to ask. What do we
not
know about?
much.
What do we know about
Like worship.
Nezarax?
Like Golden Age. Yeah.
Oh yeah, pre-Golden Age actually.
Yep.
As
Oh,
from
yeah.
the Nezarec Sin lore book, lore page. Basically,
Oh, go ahead.
basically Nezarax was a being that was. We don't know much about him pre-Golden Age, other than that he was hated, as described by Nezarec Sin and all that, and also worshipped by some.
And he also,
Oh.
like, Drifter has been to a planet in, like, the outer, like, rim, basically, that has one of his tomb, and it was, like, very strong with, like, darkness energy.
Oh yeah, and speaking of the tomb, the seasonal weapon exotic this week, if you compare it to the cutscene, it actually is a similar model to Nezarec's tomb. The
That's
delicate tomb fusion is basically a similar model to Nezarec's actual tomb, or one of the tombs.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, shouts out to Myelin for this one. He did a whole 10 minutes on the delicate tomb. Like, the amount of lore involved with that gun
Yeah,
is staggering. Even pointing out the name, the delicate tomb, and the strong possibility that it contains a piece of Nezarec, um, is something that didn't even realize it. And there was more. He pulled something from like an artist's desk, drawing of the gun with some more information. Like, it was crazy the amount of connection that gun has to Nezarec, and we are most likely carrying around a piece of him in that gun.
Didn't.
I feel like it's going to be important come the later season.
Yeah. Interesting. I didn't realize that. I didn't study as much as I like to with work and everything. Kind of like slowed me down a little bit, but
I just like read the lore books.
it's definitely interesting. Like what it sets up for their future or whatever, and that we get to learn some about entities that we know very little about as well. It gives us
yeah.
more of a connection to the game itself.
It also brings some insights into how long the darkness may have been in the Sol system, or was humanity in general. Since if Nezarec is a humanoid figure, which, well, we don't know that for sure, but if he was known by humanity before the Golden Age, then maybe the darkness has been in the Sol system longer than we could have ever imagined.
Right. You got that question of when did he become a disciple?
Yeah.
Not even when he
So-
became a disciple, but like we knew about him before we knew about the Traveler,
Yeah.
like on Mars.
So
Yeah.
would he have been using darkness that whole time, or is darkness something he would have acquired via the witness?
Well, that's the thing, we honestly don't know. The pre-Golden Age records we have of him are just generic, are just talking about him being worshipped like a godlike figure, like a deity.
Pain.
Yep.
Just seen as a deity.
Yeah.
He's what does he have, like 4 lines or something ridiculous? It is crazy.
Yeah.
And another fun thing, which was something I never would have noticed in the cutscene, and I don't know if you guys watched the video or not. Again, Mylin, but when they showed the Fallen kind of tearing apart Nezarec in the temple, when they first kind of stabbed out at him, moths came out, and moths have been a significant thing, throughout Destiny, kind of related to the Hive.
Right.
And Bungie didn't really do things by accident, especially not in those cutscenes. So there's now at least a big question out there of, okay, what is the relationship with him and the Hive, and is defeating him or putting him in this tomb what Savathun did to help us back during the collapse? Like, is Savathun related somehow, and that's why the moths are there?
It definitely is Hive related, but I don't think it would be solely related to Savathun. Since all
Right.
we've seen was Oryx in the Dreadnought, in the Golgross Maze, there's a bunch of moss in that area. Which
Right.
brings up the question, what similarities did the moss have to the hive? What connection do they have to that species?
Right. Because I mean, you definitely get like a very hivey feel from, like, especially in the cutscene. Like, I just felt like it was very hive, or in the whatever, the video or whatever you see, you definitely get I felt like there was like they were connected somehow. It doesn't really, obviously it leaves you to wondering how they're connected, but it definitely feels like they are in some way. At least that's the vibe I got. I mean, I don't know if that's
Yeah,
how.
no, absolutely.
I've were guarding the pyramid in the lore book, you know, or what we can assume is Hive.
What they said, like, the hive were there, but then the voice scared them away. And I don't know if that's Nezarek's voice or the witness, because I guess the voice came from the pyramid and scared them away, if I remember right.
It would be the witness because he's
Witness.
dead, but then again, he is talking, and we have like 4 relics, you know.
Yeah. However, yeah, I think it is also more likely to witness because at the end of the Shadowkeep cutscene, we speak to a entity wearing our face, which is basically confirmed to be the witness, or at least a form of
doppelganger.
A form of the witness, right?
of the voice.
Yeah.
And another thing that I thought of while looking at how the delicate tomb weapon was made out of Nezarek's flesh, or that theory, is what if we could do something similar with Ralk and his corpse? Since
We love to
last we
make
saw him,
guns out
he
of
was
gods.
just
That's all it
sick.
is. Sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
He was just a statue in the Strong World Pyramid, or basically covered in vines in the Strong World Pyramid.
Yeah, there's some lore on those vines, which I didn't remember or get into today, but they have significance. It comes out of the caretaker and it comes out of Rolk when you kill them. The same
And it's similar to the vines
material.
in the Champion.
Yeah, it's
Like darkness energy, ain't it? I remember
something.
you
I
saying something
don't
about that,
remember.
Frozen.
I do believe that is a form of darkness energy. And something that does intrigue me is, what if the nightmares in those entities themselves were formed after Nezarek's flesh was, well, broken, or his pieces were scattered? The reason I'm saying that is, if you look at what happened with Ralk, after we killed him, the Strongworld Pyramid had vines coming out of it. And if you go to the Strongworld now, you can see it, the vines coming out of the pyramid when you look at it.
Am I dumb? I thought it was like lights coming out of the pyramid.
It's
probably that same energy, whatever it is.
Yeah, like the same viney energy like the caretaker and other darkness entities had. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would assume it, like, I would assume it has something more to do with Nezarek himself. Like, he still has, like, a will or something. Because, like, they didn't appear in D1. Granted, we didn't, like, awaken the pyramid, right?
Were there any pyramids in D?
The pyramid was on the moon, but, like, we didn't know it was there, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, it feels like if it was there, or Nezarek, like, is, like, controlling them. That'd be my guess, but...
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
When did we go? We went into the pyramid in, I think somebody said Forsaken is when you teleported into the
Shadowkeep.
pyramid.
No, Shadowkeep.
Shadowkeep. Yeah. It was the season, or
You
the.
teleported and you landed in that Chantry of the Darkest Hour. And now
Correct.
we're realizing the Darkest Hour is another name or another description of Nezarek.
I'm pretty sure when you go into the Chantry of the Darkest Hour, that's only in last season.
That was Arrivals.
Rivals? I thought that
I-
was that big open area where we fought cows, though.
It's either that or the area you get teleported in after the final mission fight with Knockers and the rivals. I honestly don't
I'll tell you, I saw the
remember.
video today, and you definitely got transported there. Shadowkeep or first whatever it is.
Okay.
Definitely.
Right, so
I didn't know if
probably
that was what it
the
was
rivals
called or
one.
what.
The funny
Yeah.
thing, I don't think maybe we didn't know much of its significance back then, but now you can look back at it and realize it. Like it's crazy how much stuff is connecting at the moment.
Oh yeah.
Which just is, and then going farther back, and Frozen will know this one because you guys mentioned it. Mr. Drifter went to the fourth tomb,
Mm.
and Drifter
Nezarec.
has a piece of Nezarec, and I'm pretty sure that's what he brought to Eris, to have her inspect at her workshop. Was that
Oh.
last week?
Oh no.
Like,
The thing he brought to Eric's was actually one of the relics we have in the helm.
No, see,
At
I
least-
think he brought his. 'Cause
The
he has
issue with that is I think it was because from the way I was reading it was still in the capsule. So unless Drifter built one of those capsules to hold the piece, it may just be one
Wait,
of the
I know
pieces
this.
we
I know this. It can't be that because I just read it. It can't be that unless he showed that to Ido, because it said Ido had already like inspected it, and then he's like, I don't think she's like the darkness lady or whatever. He makes a joke. So I think it'd have to be the like
It
the
has to be
weekly
one from
one.
the helm.
Yeah.
That would make sense if he brought it to if Ido had it first.
and speaking of that, why are we storing all these dark relics in the same place in the helm? It seems very yeah.
I'm
It seems
Better
I
than the last city.
I'm
Crown is right there too. You're gonna have all those relics and the Crown of Sorrow all in the same place. Like that it just awful.
yeah, we didn't learn a lesson from last season.
Well, we
yeah.
cleaned it up.
But the thing is, like,
Yeah.
even then, is this all Aramis's plan for us to collect all of them for her and bring them all together?
I don't know if she's that
Here's the thing.
like
It
that
may not be
confident.
Aramis, yeah, but she is still following orders from the witness.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what we don't know is what will happen once all the relics are obtained and brought together.
Well,
Because, like Pidgen mentioned, with ones we have now, there are still voices that are being heard.
yeah, I
And they're
think
only gonna get stronger
I
until we can like actually like talk to Nezarec.
we're gonna see Nezarec, I think, by season's end. Just looking at all the lore, like I'm reading right now, like Nezarec's sin, he is that which is an end, and he shall rise again. And then even then in the Nezarec's Whisper, it talks about how he's the final god of pain. The text states that one day rise again, implying that he's currently dead, dormant, or in hiding. So we know where he's at now at this point. Like we at the time of that description, we didn't. We know
Missing an important line in there because there's a line about he'll come at our darkest hour.
that this is just like what I'm reading is completely like
Frozen, I think you know what I'm talking about. There's some line where it says Nezarec will return in our darkest hour or something. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah.
So my
Could
guess is
be.
he comes back for Lightfall, not for now.
Oh, yeah. But
Could be.
then this also brings an issue, something that's out of now. What we don't know is, A, why, well, if he will come back now or during Lightfall, and B, why exactly, this goes into Contador, why exactly was Callus trying to commune with the Moon Pyramid, trying to form that connection?
He wants to become a disciple, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if his mind is like linked, you'd think that'd be the logical next step is get a pyramid.
He's gonna
Yeah.
get his own because we saw it.
Yeah, one with his like face in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is an interesting question of okay, well, why would he be going after Nezarec? You know, maybe he knew, or I'm sure the witness knows that there's that kind of darkness power there, and they wanted it.
Or just simply like, hey, I don't need to give up one of the pyramid ships I have in my fleet. This one's empty. I would assume. Just a
Maybe.
simple like, find one like open, so to speak, I guess.
All right, so the lore behind Nezarexin, the lore entry itself is he is that which is end, that which covets sin, the final god of pain, the purest light, the darkest hour, and he shall rise again. When the guiding shine fades and all seems lost, he will call to you. Fear not, he offers is not dark as it may seem, for Nezarec is no demon, but a fiend, arch and vile and ways unknown. He is a path and a way, one of many, and his sin, so wicked, so divine, is that he will never cower when dusk does fall, but stand vigilant as old stars die and new light blinks its first upon fated eternity.
Yeah, that even points me like more to Mustplay's. Like he's gonna like appear at Lightfall, like our darkest hour, and more of like our enemy of our enemy is my friend type situation.
Right, absolutely. Especially as I'm reading it, like it definitely has like you can see. I mean, when dusk does fall. I mean, that's Lightfall for Christ's sake, but and then new light blinks its first upon fated eternity. So yeah, definitely.
Good.
No, you're good. I mean,
okay. Especially him being like the god of pain. The final shape is like opposed to that, since there'd be like one person left.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't remember if I'm misremembering this, but wasn't in one of the lore books Nezarec called an X-disciple, right?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, we could kind of already infer that since we got like a Luperane glaive from him, but
yeah.
When the guiding shine fades and all seems lost, he will call to you.
Yeah, I still think we may not see him, but we'll know that he is resurrected by the end of the season. I think.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we'd have to.
Savathun kind of
right
back, but not on screen.
Well, there's another interesting thing, and I don't know where it is, but he turned on the disciple. He betrayed the disciple.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that is.
It may have been a part of Nezarec's whisper, I think. Maybe.
Let's see. I've got it. There's Nezarec. Let me pull up Nezarec's. No, I just clicked on Nezarec's. Is it Nezarec's whisper? Don't really think it.
I got it here. The sundered remains of Hive Knights and Thrall frozen within crystals. So he was using stasis to fight Hive. Nope, never mind. This is Eris in the...
Yeah, this has absolutely nothing to do.
Yeah.
And
back then it was like, it was just like speculating he might come back.
Yeah, exactly. Eris is looking for him.
Oh yeah, and that brings up another point that I just remembered. In Shadowkeep, after you complete the main campaign, there's a cutscene where Eris touches a statue of whatever that lady is. The darkness, whatever. Now, before we got stasis back in Shadowkeep, the statue...
Yeah, she
finds stasis. Yeah. She puts her Ahamkara bone on the statue and it turns into a stasis ball. We didn't know it was stasis at the time, and I remember thinking she turned evil, but looking back, it was stasis.
Oh, dude! So the lore this is exactly what it's talking about. Is what's happening when she's at the statue. I just like as you're saying this, she's talking about her Ahamkara bone to her lips, Iris blows across its surface as it were extinguishing a tiny candle. The world around her blurs and bends, and then she is elsewhere. The heart of the pyramid, a veiled statue, towers over Eris, vaguely feminine in form, though she is not convinced of its ephenial silhouette. She raises her soulfire shrouded Ahamkara bone again. Stasis encrusts its surface, much as it had years ago when she harnessed such power. Eris turns to inspect the vast interior of the pyramid. It is quiet. It is dead. Not unlike the one in Savathun's throne world, her eyes narrow. She clutches the Ahamkara bone in her hand again, and she is elsewhere. A chamber. It's cavernous. It's dark. It's strange. Bisected statues of stratified minerals line the cathedral-like walls, culminate at the far end, yawning opening that empties into peripheral nothingness. On the floor, a length of undefinable metal caked in centuries of dust catches her eye. A glaive. Eris lifts this into her hand. Striations of red illuminate on its surface and throb like a heartbeat. The glaive's power feels faint, distant, and yet an ember of something terrible still burns within. Where are you? Eris whispers into the air, and then there is no reply.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I remember reading that, but I never realized the what's it? There seems to be like I forget the word, but a connection between like it seems like her putting the carbone is like a catalyst for something.
Right.
Maybe that's nothing, but I feel like it's weird whenever she puts like carbone, she binds Nezarek's glaive, she gets like gifted the gift of stasis, or
Yeah. Or at least discovers stasis.
Yeah. I mean, I guess discovers, yeah, but
Since she didn't fully wield it until Beyond Light. Yeah.
Now, what about the Drifter? Because he was using stasis in Beyond Light. Has he been using it longer, or he's got a, interesting story with darkness himself?
Yeah. This thing about
I
the
don't know.
Drifter is, the hardest part about this is most of the stasis stuff they probably didn't think about before Beyond Light or maybe even Shadowkeep. Like latent Shadowkeep and Beyond Light. That's the biggest issue with it. We don't have much lore on
Right.
if he had it longer before or if he just got it around the same time we did.
Yeah. So there's another thing we didn't even start to talk about, which was crazy this week. And that was when Ido let it slip that there's somebody else going
Last week,
after the
wasn't it?
relics.
Yeah, we knew about that last week, but still.
Last week?
Yeah.
We saw
Last
the dead
week,
crew at
yeah.
the Pirates hideout.
Last,
That was last
yeah.
week, that was. Okay.
Yeah.
So
This
we knew
week
about
is
it.
just.
Now Aramis knows about it. The
Right.
question is, what is it? Like, what is out there that kills as efficiently as we do?
I mean, it could be, honestly, we don't know. We don't know anything about, other than there's somebody looking for these artifacts that we are the same as we are. We don't really know. You could maybe,
It could be like some darkness person. Like hell, it could even be like Nezarek's like own followers.
yeah.
We're not really sure. I would guess it has something to do with Lightfall, or maybe
Callus.
next season. But
Or it could be Callus. I mean, we don't know.
Right.
I doubt it'd be Callus,
Yeah.
but
Callus's crew going after the relics?
I don't think it would be.
I don't
Callus.
think Callus's crew are that efficient.
That's what I
Alright,
was-
imagine
right.
that. Like, what I presume is it will be someone of darkness. Maybe the witness was angered by Aramis's lack of progress with the relics. They're losing so many, so he has someone else hunting for them as well.
This is kind of maybe an off-topic question, but do we know? You know how in Lightfall they said we're gonna have like those big, like weird dudes with like the darkness?
Cloud
Like
Strider?
no, the other people. Like
Yeah,
the
no shit.
enemies that we fight.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tormented.
Tormentors, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Do
They
we
have the same
know?
armor
Is
set.
that
They
new,
look like Rolk
or is
and Nezrek, by the way. It's pretty
yeah?
I
cool.
feel
Is
like
that new, or would that be like maybe teasing them? I'd have to look at what they say,
They're gonna
but
be crashing through at
yeah,
some point.
what I may assume is maybe those are just because we have not really fought any true outside of Rolk and the people in the Pyramid Ring. We have not
Mhm.
fought any true entities of darkness. Oryx had to take abilities, but he was
yeah, or
more of a hive entity than a disciple per se.
yeah, that was it. It was just like Hive. Like I can
Yeah,
take. That was his like only. I mean, besides
yeah,
him just being strong, that was his only,
Yeah,
yeah.
like
well, people
darkness
threw out the Hive
characteristic.
as a possibility of who's going in there. They said, what if it's Lucent Hive, who would
The
have
thing is,
powers of Guardians?
the
The
thing
question would
is,
be,
we
why are they going after the
fought.
relics?
Yeah, the thing is, we fought Lucent High before, so it has to be something insanely efficient that I feel like we haven't fought before, because I feel like we'd know it, right, if it was Lucent Hive,
Oh,
or
so we get
maybe
there
like
after everything's dead.
We'd still have there would still be some traces of light, as seen in Witchwind campaign, if it was the recent.
So do you think it
yeah,
could be somebody like Eris
No.
or the Drifter?
Eris, no. I don't think it would be anyone who we know right now, anyone on our side.
yeah. I feel like it has to be a new character or character in Lightfall that we know about as a people, but we wouldn't know about in game. That's just me though.
This is interesting because like who would want the relics?
It would have to be someone with connection to darkness, witness, whatever. Some
I
dark
feel like
entity.
my guess is either the witness or his like his followers, Nezarek's followers. But that one is just the latter is just like a
Eh.
pure theory
I
in
feel
my
like
head.
the issue is
Could it be the
Nezarek.
long lost Zivu? Could Miss Zivu or Wrath be the one that the witness sent out?
It's hard to say with Zebu because as we as what happened in Hunted and Lost, we've basically dismantled a lot of the Hive's fleet. Like on her high celebrant, we crippled one of her main generals per se, and then we also killed so many Hive and taken in the season of the Lost that it's hard to tell if those guys are connected. If Zero Rest would have a force that efficient anymore.
And then another option is an old friend, Fickrel. And apparently Fickrel can't die.
He's sick.
That would leak
Yes,
ether places though, right?
yeah.
Like dark ether,
Like
I mean.
the
Would they be
yeah
there
the big
anyway? Because oh, you mean the Dark Ether?
the big
Yeah.
issue with it being Fickrel is even though he was technically immortal, he is basically immortal. We don't know what has happened to him truly after the Scorn became under Cal's control. Since his whole like he may be working with Cal's, he may not be. He may actually be dead or he may not be. It's very hard to tell what is happening with him since we have not heard from him since
Wouldn't you say
Forsaken.
he's working with the Witness because we had to fight Scorn in Savathun's throne world there?
Alice, like I was saying. The Scorn, as we saw in Season of the Chosen, was the Presage mission. Was it? Yeah, the Presage
Yeah.
mission, where we
Chosen.
saw the Scorn. What?
I said that was chosen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As we saw, was the Sworn having been experimented on was the Crown of Sorrow and Callus' ship. I am more inclined to believe that was Callus who had some sort of control over them, rather than Fickrel.
Control over nightmares too, right? Aren't nightmares born from those experiments, like as well as the nightmares that assumedly, what's it made? Right? Are there nightmares on Presage? I forget.
No,
No? Yes?
I thought so. Don't.
The
no,
boss was a
it's just
nightmare, wasn't he?
Yeah, the boss is
no,
a knight.
yeah, the boss was he? I honestly don't
Wait a
have
minute. Now
that.
that I stand to the
The
right.
boss was, I'm
No,
pretty sure, a red version of Fickrel. Or
no,
Key Hitter.
the boss was a not Fickrel,
No,
100%.
not Pickerel. It was the other dude, the Hangman,
Yeah,
the guy who really likes servitors.
it was. It, it's an entirely different character than that guy.
I know. I just meant like body wise.
Yeah, but yeah, from what
Well,
I can gather,
there's another option too. God, that cutscene is so ridiculous. By the way, we haven't gone over the full thing in there,
yeah,
which is another option is Spider's brother. So somebody who we may have killed way back in the day could come back Tanic style, and that could be our old friend Savix,
Mhm.
who is Spider's brother. And there's reasons it could be him that I'm not remembering at the moment.
yeah. It's very hard to tell because there's so many possible opportunities of who could be hunting for them.
I could see Spider hunting for them. Put it that way.
Oh yeah,
That fits him.
Spider, yeah, it would fit him. However, the
Do a bit
only
more
issue is
than
that the only issue is that Siri is he already has access to this city and maybe even the helm. If he's well, actually the helm's in orbit in the moon, so not really. But he has access in the city.
Does he though?
So yeah, the helm was deployed and haunted and still orbiting the moon. Hasn't moved from there.
It seemed like Ikora really don't want him around, and
Oh yeah.
they might keep him in that Elixir corridor. I don't know if he's getting
Oh yeah.
around.
When I say the city, I mean the Elixir Quarter in general. But he still has goons who work for him
Right.
in House of Light and all that. And speaking of Ikora and the Spider's Refuge,
Hmm.
them accepting him in there, Drifter smuggling him in, whatever happened, is probably the worst. It's a lose-lose scenario no matter what. If they don't turn him in, they have a risk of losing the alliance with the Awoken, which the Awoken, Mara and the Awoken, are probably some of the most powerful allies we have, even though they're not the most trusting of us. They're probably our most powerful allies as of
sure.
now.
I mean, Mara and Eris have killed a pyramid ship. You know,
Maybe.
Well, theoretically,
maybe
we
Mara.
don't know if that's happened yet. What will happen?
I guess, but the power's there. You know.
Yeah, yeah, and especially with the weapons the Awoken have, like the Harbingers.
Mm-hmm.
The Awoken, if we keep Spider here, we're basically risking that alliance. If we release him, if we give him back tomorrow, we're basically risking our alliance with House of Light and losing the trust with Fallen who are already on the edge for giving away a refuge.
Mm-hmm.
And then, if we leave him in the city, it will eventually come to light that Spider is in the Elixir Court, and when people discover that, we go back to the Splicer time for the Fallen. So it's basically, no matter what they do, it's a losing scenario.
Yeah, it's not good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to lose any of those guys, especially since Lightfall is so like close.
Well,
With
we
the
don't
witness
really
being
know
here.
that in universe, at least, we don't know how close or how far the witness
Well,
is.
they're yearly, right? Like canonically, each expansion is like a year apart.
Yeah,
Because
around that.
there's lore where it's like every at this time of year
Yeah,
it always gets bad.
yeah, but
Don't we know the
even
witness
then,
is in Seoul, or do we assume he's
no,
not one of those pyramids that are in Seoul? 'Cause
no.
No, he's
He,
not.
yeah. If you remember from the Lightfall trailer, the witness's ship is not a pyramid. It's rather larger. Or was that Calcis? Could have been both. But yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if he had, monsters
yeah,
like that.
yeah. The witness, if he
Oh,
is,
horsepower.
yeah, yeah, the witness is probably still on his way to Soul. There are pyramids on the edge of the system, but those are very few and far between. Or those are not really interacting with us yet. The only pyramids that we've truly interacted with are the ones on Europa, the Throne World, and the Moon. The Throne World one, we're probably not going to see much from because Rogstad is technically in another dimension from our realm. The Europa one, we'll see what happens with that. The Moon one's probably the most prevalent as of right now in the lore.
Well, especially with it, housing partial part of Nezarec's remains or whatever, however that works.
And it also brings up the question: how many tombs exist that contain Peace of Nezareth?
7.
Right?
I
Yeah.
wonder if they know. I mean, for some reason, they knew that the Drifter went to the fourth tomb.
Yeah, there's
That's the lore.
there's something I was just reading a little bit ago. There's something that says that there are 7 Nezarec tombs that Drifter has cataloged. So I don't know if there could be more or if
It would make sense if it's 7,
Found it.
well,
even not including the actual war. It would make sense for it to be 7, given Bungie's
yeah,
reputation.
for 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many.
I'm looking at the light bulb picture, and yeah, it's like a huge, giant Star
Well, I mean,
Destroyer type.
right, and it's
Yeah.
like well, even when you see him aboard his ship, you see all those pyramids and they look tiny in comparison to where he is at in any of the cutscenes that we've seen, because he's got thousands or hundreds of pyramid ships. Like when we see him at the end of the first cutscene, when we actually see the witness or whatever, we see.
Peels back the planets.
Yeah. Or peels back the veil.
Yeah. So, question I have at the moment: do you guys know, or does anybody know, if the disciple controls the pyramid, or if the witness can kind of override that? So, in other words, if somehow, when Nezarec comes back, does he get control over that moon pyramid?
Uh,
I feel the disciple will control because otherwise, why would the moon pyramid still be there? If Chaos is trying to make a connection, and even in general, why would the moon pyramid, why would the Europa pyramid still stay there? And speaking of that, we don't know who the disciple of the Europa pyramid is, if there even is one.
yeah, the thing is, like, for one, Nezarec at some point betrayed the witness. I think that, like in lore that I've read, is kind of understood that he betrayed the witness at some point.
Yeah, especially with the glaive from Rolk on the ground.
Right. So I think it's understood that he is at some point betrayed the witness, and then so I don't know if and maybe, I mean, it's hard to, I mean, for me, I would think that whoever the disciple of the pyramid would have some sort of control over or what would be the point of them being, the disciple of that pyramid or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like you look at it as like a military standpoint, right? So you have, your general, and then you have, going down the line, different commands, posts, and such. So I would imagine that for the most part that the disciples would have control over it, but ultimately, like, what drives the pyramids? What is the real question? What are they? Like, is it all the witnesses' control? Do we know that?
No. We honestly don't know much about how the pyramids are controlled.
Right. So, I mean, it wouldn't be enough to say that it's just 100% the witness control all the time. But
Right.
especially with the one with Europa there, what's the sense of it being there? What is the
both
sense?
of them, just kind of being dormant for so long. I assume there's some degree of control, but
yeah, the main one I wouldn't really call dormant. The main one I would call dormant. The Europa one is less so, but still.
Right. We don't know enough about it right at the time to really make an educated. Yeah, I mean, we can guess, we can hypothesize or whatever what we think, but we really at this time don't really know.
Yeah.
Well, do we want to try and jump around to the other lore this week, given that we have like 15 minutes
Yeah.
or 13?
All right.
Where do you want to go?
Mithrax, I
Mithrax.
guess.
Yeah.
Favorite character or second favorite character? I'm curious to hear y'all's opinions on the new developments this week.
So, I mean, I wouldn't really call them new. It was to be expected that.
Oh yeah, obviously.
The connection with darkness is surprising, but well, what we also don't know is what power the Rogues had.
Right.
What power they give. So we don't know if it was like temporary powers or if it was control. Something, whatever. But also,
the question I have is how easy is it? Like, if somebody gets kind of taken over by darkness, like in a Star Wars reference, it's like somebody became a Sith, right? Like they went to the dark side for sure. So Mithrax for sure went to what I would call the dark side, killing, his own people, friends, family, doesn't matter. Some speculation he killed Ido's parents and then took her. Like, just crazy stuff. So, if you want to put that kind of behavior on the relic that he was holding,
Yeah.
how easy is it to step away from that? Or is he maybe even a red herring? Like, is he somehow still under control and it's a long con, right? Like, that'd be something crazy.
he's
Go ahead.
To put it in perspective, I don't think the Star Wars reference would be a better. I feel like a better example would maybe be like the Ring of Power from the Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Something like that. An object where if you have it on you, it basically has a lot of control over you. But if it's away from you, it's some semblance of control, but less so.
Well, you definitely get the sense that he is in control because he doesn't want to share that part of his past with anybody. He doesn't want anybody to know about it because all the good that he's done since then, he would rather that be what his story is instead of his past. So I think for me, the thing that we gotta realize is, like, yeah, there's dark sides. That's why it's very similar to Saint. I felt the connection between him and Saint in the video, because we never really look at the side that the fallen see of Saint, right? We always think of him as this, great guardian that did amazing things, but we never think about it, how he hunted down fallen and things like that. And the same could be said for Mithrax. We never really had that perspective of how he was. We didn't really know it, obviously, but
yeah,
at the same time.
We knew he was like a member of House Wolf or House of Wolves. You know, he I forget. He was a captain for House Dusk. And we just knew like the act of kindness, you know, he displayed in some other stuff. But
Right.
you were mentioning him being like connected with Saint, and that reminded me of the last season, yeah, where him and Saint both don't want to face, you know, what they've done with the nightmares. Obviously,
Right.
it's a bit more complicated than that, but I definitely feel like Mithrax is in control because he didn't want to look at his nightmares last season. You know, he didn't want to.
Does that suggest he's in control, or does that suggest he's hanging on by a thread? You know,
Could be
sounds like he's
either.
an alcoholic that's ready to step off the wagon.
Another thing I'd like to
That
point
night,
out
you know,
is in the dialogue of the catch crashes and inferred in other seasons, how it says his behaviors before him killed a younger Mithrax, which may be some kind of theory involving Tanix and all that. What if the relics have some sort of resurrection / healing effect to whoever bears it?
it would make sense because Nezarek apparently has that.
Nezarek will rise again.
Right.
Yeah.
He has that kind of ability. So
Yeah. And that would explain how entities like Tanix and Mithrax could survive deaths like experience.
Yeah, the thing, like going back to, whether he's in control or he's hanging on by a thread. I think it's more than a thread that he's hanging on, because he knows that not to put himself in the position to where he can fall again, right? So I think he's very much in control of his destiny, so to speak, because of that. Not play on words there, gotcha. But he knows that not to look at his nightmares and start to go back down that path because of what he's done, what he did, and how he's resurrected himself from that, and how he's changed himself from that.
I feel like it's definitely more of he's paranoid that if he, because I kind of did it in Injustice. He like talks to his nightmares, but he doesn't want to go back. Essentially, I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering, he doesn't want to go back to the Crown of Sorrow because of what it brought up. I feel like he's just trying to suppress it because he's worried that he will fall, even though I don't think he's hanging on by a thread. He's just worried, that it will happen. Maybe overly paranoid or not, but
yeah, and doesn't want to put himself in a position to where he could. I think is
probably like Ido.
Right.
But do you think that's his future coming up?
His downfall is not being like he's supposed to.
It might have been 2 weeks ago or last week, maybe something. Ido quoted the Guardians thing, with sacrifice.
Yeah, the speaker.
She left off sacrifice means death or whatever that part.
No, it's sacrifice. So why don't you go kill yourself?
Devotion inspires bravery. Bravery inspires sacrifice. Sacrifice leads to death. Right. Basically, that's the Guardian coda.
God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that the coda, or is that just speaker being mean to Cal or not Cal?
Here's the thing. It's the coda. The reason I know that is because no one else. Yeah, that's one thing. Plus, no one else was there for the speaker's cutscene.
That's such a badass cutscene, though.
Yeah, it was. But no one else was there for it. It was only the speaker, Gall, and
okay.
And then also, Savasoon quotes it in the Witch Queen campaign as well.
Gotcha.
I didn't realize that.
That quote from Ido, people are taking as foreshadowing that we are going to get a fallen Guardian. That fallen Guardian may very well be good old Mithrax here. Maybe saving Ido from Darkness even.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of Ido, like Mithrax will kill Ido or something in Darkness, and then I've heard a lot of theories about that.
So the thing is, like, another thing to look at it is like if you look in past seasons, you look at the character in question, their story arc, so to speak. It's very similar to how like Crow's was, to how like there's so much darkness behind him and his past that he didn't know about, that he finds out about, and then how he responds to that after that, like the closure of that last season, stopping the nightmare, or whatever, gaining control over that, I think was really, really nice to see. And I think that's something we'll see with Mr. X. Obviously we're in the middle of his arc right now. We don't know a lot. We're learning a lot about him, and something that we will see closure. Guardian. I don't know if timing wise, if we would see a Guardian right now. I think that's a bit of a stretch,
That's
but I
definitely
mean,
long future stuff. Maybe
right.
towards
No.
or past Lightfall, or
In my opinion, it would be somewhere how they did the Croson. So, how in Forsaken, after you completed the campaign, there was this cutscene of a ghost reviving,
Right.
of Gwen reviving the Ultimate Cyber Crow. I'd say they may pull a long time like that, and we would see them be revived, but not have them interact until.
Yeah, I feel
another.
like as much as I want it to happen soon because I love Mithrax, I feel like that's just too major to not have in a expansion. Like that's end of the year stuff. I feel.
Well, it's also like
2 more seasons before Lightfall.
This season, the season after
And next
Lightfall.
season.
Yeah.
So it could be the end of next season.
Could be.
Leading into. No, well, the end of next season leading into has got to be the arrival of the Witness, right?
We've got to start wrapping up a lot of these storylines that we have open, right? Because I mean, we're in.
I wouldn't be shocked if they wrap up Mithrax this season, then, because they got to wrap up a lot with the Witness next season.
Mm-hmm. Wrap up Mithrax, maybe have a Rasputin, because Rasputin knows about Sky people,
So does yeah. Here's the other series I've seen. If you remember back in Season of Dawn, which you may not have, there's a cutscene where Osiris confronts Rasputin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, well, that may have just been a teaser. Right? Yeah, and then to put in perspective, I'm not sure if it's still there, but I remember seeing on one of the Bungie store pages for the purchase of Lightfall, it mentioning that we find out about Neo Neptuna from Osiris's dreams or visions, or his mind, basically.
Yeah.
Well, that looks like time.
Yeah, that is time.
From this week. That is crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
We barely touched on Mithrax. We spent like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
too much, man.
If we
orgasm, man, it's fucking everything. It's so good.
Another thing that I'm happy about is that they're starting to resolve a few more stories.
Right.
Because as of right now, there's hundreds of untied threads in the lore, in just lore books.
Right.
Not even considering the current season stuff.
Right.
Like year 1 and even D1.
D1 especially, because of how they knew what they were doing in D1.
Yeah. Also, another point that I'd like to make is there's some lore books that, even though there are no more pages, are just unfinished. Because one of the lore books, the last days on Kraken Mare, on the Destiny lore subreddit back in Shadowkeep, the former writer at Bungie who worked in that lore book confirmed there was more pages that were not released. So there's technically a lot of unreleased lore pages, unknown lore, that may tie into what's happening now and the darkness in general.
Do you think they're going to retcon stuff and
they've already retconned. They've already retconned so much that it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm going. Yeah, we got a raid to go into. Oh well. 3 of us do.
Loser.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
But I'm going to call it there. It was a very good session. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day, your evening, to chat it up. I definitely want to do this again because we obviously did not cover enough. So, but definitely appreciate you guys' time. It was fun. Again, we'll shoot again Thursday, Friday time frame next week to resume part 2 of our lore roundtable, and then kind of go from there.
Sounds good.
Sounds good, guys.
All right, appreciate you guys' time.